Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Close to 2.5 years on the police department, and Degen, I was graciously chosen for the K-9 program here. And as some of you know, we had Erik, the German Shepherd, first. Erik decided to quit working. He had a phenomenal nose. The instructors actually used the word phenomenal. Was doing things with it that most dogs don't do, and was real quick to pick it up. He just chose when he wanted to work and when he didn't want to work. So they failed him out, and they said, you know, if we could find another dog, we could get back into class. As you can see, he's very relaxed when he's got a ball. State troopers came together, networked, did a lot of digging, a lot of talking to people, and they ended up finding this boy here up near Chicago. One of the state troopers went and looked at him, and basically in a nutshell, what's that? In a nutshell, they said if I couldn't go look at my own dog, I would send Trooper Brody to go up there and look at him. Suggested we go ahead and pick Degen up here, and I'll be honest with you, I got 10 weeks underneath my belt. That's the only expertise I have in the K-9 program, which is 10 weeks more than anybody else on our department right now. So, because I'm sure the Chief's going to pick most of this up pretty fast. He's a pretty smart guy. Degen is extremely intelligent. Today he's having one of his defiant days. He's trying to tell me he's in charge, and right now he's being calm because we got him on the prong collar there. When he misbehaves, he gets a say. He knows what it is. Is there any problems? Anybody got any problems? We put him up here, the way everybody can see. Degen. Up. Environmentally insane. That's a good quality. Carpeted floors are usually no problems for dogs. Stay. Carpeted floors are usually not a problem for them. Slick floors, dark rooms have problems with dogs usually. They're naturally a little timid of the dark environments. Degen could care less. He's very happy as long as he's chasing a ball. He's got a good drug nose. Chief asked me to talk a little bit about the training. Normally it's 10 weeks long. I'm going to be staying 2 weeks extra because Degen got in kind of in the middle of it. Basically, the dogs are trained out for narcotics. We train them to seek cannabis, cocaine, crack cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines. Heroin and methamphetamines are very similar, so when you send them out for heroin, they bump right up into methamphetamines. Degen was able to accomplish this in a little under 2 weeks, and he's got his passive alert. When he smells the odor of a narcotic, clarify on that. If that box had a pound of weed in it a day or so ago, there's probably residual odor from it. He will still go over there and alert on that box because he's not trained to find a narcotic, he's trained to find the odor of a narcotic. We don't addict the dog to him in any way, shape, or form. The only exposure they actually get, unscented towels, washed in unscented soap. Play tug with them, throw them out there, they bring it back, and it sits overnight in the atmosphere around cocaine, the meth, the heroin. So when he plays with it, he's breathing that odor in. That's how he gets that odor ingrained in his little software. And when he realizes I smell that odor, oh, I get to play with the tug, I get to play with the towel, I get to play with Dad. And that's part of the ball drive you see right here. You know, you take the ball away, Degen out. That's all he wants to play. Everything we teach him is a trick. Everything we teach him is a trick. There's no addiction, as I said. Moving on past the narcotics, you get into the tracking. Sometimes he can track somebody from the door. Now, we've been explained to us 10% of tracks are successful. So that's a 90% failure rate on tracks. It's that difficult. Part of the reasons for that is exposure by other officers. Gentleman runs out of a car after robbing a bank and he heads off into a wood line, and 3 officers, because that's what they're trained to do, chase after the guy. They don't necessarily think, hey, we got to start thinking about we got a K-9 now. So there's cross-contamination. Say somebody runs through a park and every one of you gentlemen and ladies just walk through it. So he's going to pick up on all those scents. There could be some confusion for him. Degen's doing pretty good with tracking. He hasn't had a lot of exposure to it. Yes, I'm talking about you, buddy. He likes to jump and play too. Our echolocation is similar to a tracking. Somebody runs out of a car, throws a handgun. The drugs are real easy. Somebody runs out of a car, throws marijuana or cocaine out, they can find that. You set them up with the wind blowing at them, and that's real easy for them. That's a whole different ball game for them. But if I had a handgun or drop a mag out or something like that, or brass casings, I went down to the range with him about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, shooting off my weapon, picked up what brass I wanted. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I bet you I missed a couple. Put him out there, and he did. He found 5 more pieces for me. And just by telling him to do his job, going out there, running him through the pattern like we've been trained to do, and he picked up 5 more pieces of brass for me. In some kind of a shooting, a homicide, a bank robbery, that could be labeled as evidence very easily, and that would be very important to find that. The grass that he found it in was probably a foot, foot and a half tall. I mean, we'd be out there for days combing through that. He found it in 5-10 minutes tops. Apprehension work, bite work, everybody, that's probably the most common thing that the dogs, the K-9s, are known for, is biting, because it's obviously the one with the most controversy behind it. First and foremost, the dog is a tool. He's not a weapon. He's the only tool on my belt that I can recall. If I was to shoot around at a bad guy and go, oh man, that's going to miss him, and hit that school behind him, I can't will that bullet back. Short of stopping a punch or snapping a guy down to the ground, the dog is the only tool on my belt that I can recall. If I was to send Degen down there, catch up with Mr. Herzog there, I could say, Degen, down! And he, what? You can't be kidding me, right? You know, you're stopping me now? And believe me, you get that look from every single one of these K-9s, because they live for that. They think that's the funnest thing in the world, is jumping after somebody. That's their prey drive. And I'm doing special training so that he will bite Mr. Herzog every chance he gets. And the chief, a couple guys at PD. Yeah. Chief talks big, but I got bruises up and down my arms from these dogs wearing a bite suit. It hurts. It's the only belt. I'm trying to think here real quick here. Chief told me today, he says, hey, there's going to be a bunch of free food down here at this Rotary thing. And then he gave me like 2 minutes notice. Oh yeah, by the way, I want you to stand up there, say certain stuff. You've got 15 minutes to talk about K-9. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can talk about myself for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He goes, no, K-9, because you're not that interesting. You want to hear about the dog. So. As I said, he's the only tool on my belt that can be recalled. He's not a deadly force weapon. He can be used in deadly force. Occasionally, there's been some cases where they're trained to bite, and they're trained as little as possible to take a specific portion of the body. They take what's available to them. I think there's a total of 3 cases, if I remember correctly, where the dog actually fatally bit somebody because that's all it was exposed, was a neck or an artery or something like that. So they're not trained killers. They're not trained attack dogs. They're trained to bite apprehension-wise and hold. If you would, I don't have any videos, I can't show them anyway, but if you were ever watch them, when a dog's happy, his tail's wagging, you'll see them. When they're on a bite, their tail's wagging, and they're having fun. It's a game to them. It's not out of viciousness. Every one of you